stupid whiteboard.
You know, for the longest time, I have been terrified of the ocean. I'm not even really sure when it started. I think it was just maybe a fear of drowning and not really sure, like, what's in it. The fact that we know so little about it. And I thought it'd be a good idea, for a Halloween video to talk about how one of my biggest fears is represented in gaming. So, figured for Halloween, let's talk about the top 5 scariest bodies of water in gaming. And I figured this would be a good way to represent what actually freaks me out about big bodies of water. That it can be so calm and peaceful like this, and then the slightest little movement can set things into this weird chaos, What's in there? What's under it? Is something down there watching me? Terrifying. And there's a lot of games that capture that really well. It'll go from docile to hostile. And before you question my list a little bit, yes, I've played Subnautica. It is terrifying, but I thought it was too easy of a pick. The entire game is terrifying. I wanted to bring out a specific thing that scared me about these oceans, whereas Subnautica, it's like the whole thing scares me. So I wanted to come up with more creative picks and really focus in on just what freaks me out about the ocean, not just water scary. It's so much more to it than that. So let's get on with the list. Silent Hill 2 is one of the scariest games of all time. Which begs the question, why is it only number 5 on the list? We'll get to that. Throughout Silent Hill 2, you've had to put up with horrifying abominations that only the mind of an insane person could conjure up. And things you truthfully could not explain to someone if you experienced them for yourself. Throughout the game, you deal with many people who you think would be a source of comfort, given the fact that you're not alone, but honestly, they can kind of make you feel a little worse. From the incredibly well-adjusted man, Eddie Dombrowski, to your new girlfriend who looks a lot like your late wife, who just kind of keeps dying over and over again, and kind of coming back and just kind of asking you why you're looking at her funny. And what are you talking about? I didn't die. You're crazy. Anyway, let's get out of here. And the only thing keeping you going is the fact that, well, you're looking for your wife, Mary. She died 3 years ago, but you got a letter from her saying that she was in your special place, waiting for you in Silent Hill. You later find out that your special place was the Lakeview Hotel, and after going through unimaginable horrors to get there, you realize, oh, it's across Toluca Lake. But the only way to get across Toluca Lake is by boat. When you get to the dock at Toluca Lake, you realize you're going to have to row your boat across on your own. There's no one with you. You're completely alone. Toluca Lake is enveloped in a thick layer of fog that covers up almost everything. The only thing you can see is a little light in the distance. And the reason why this is so high on the list is because nothing really happens to you on this lake. It's just unsettling. You think after all you've been through, something should be trying to get you on this little lake boat ride. You're not used to nothing happening. For the little odd discomfort you feel, just being something that you shouldn't concern yourself with. It's always something to concern yourself with. But not this time. You just have a little unsettling boat ride to the other side of the lake, following that light in the distance signaling you, like a lighthouse bringing a sailor home. The only thing keeping you going is the light and the answers you seek. Number 4 on the list is Fallout New Vegas. Finally, a man's game. Guns, monsters, western music, desert. After patrolling the Mojave long enough and wishing for a nuclear winter, you decide, maybe it's time to take a dip. Then you reach Colville Bay, one of the biggest bodies of water I've ever seen in a game like this. At least in terms of longevity. It feels like it goes on forever, and you can follow it almost endlessly. And that's not even the worst part. The worst part is at night. This place is pitch black. And the only thing worse than the ceaseless, never-ending black void that is the lake at nighttime is what's in it. Yeah, you can be alone a lot of the time, and it's not too bad. Unsettling, incredibly unsettling. But, something just showed up on my little VATS thingy. What in the name of Robert House is that? The lake lurks used to send chills down my spine as a kid. I hated these things. I still don't care for them now. But, I don't know, once you get good at the game and get good guns, they're not as much of a threat. They're still a threat, just not as bad. Which is why it's only 4 on the list. Yeah, the last entry, I put it so high because nothing can get you. I put this entry so high because I have guns and fire axes and stuff. So I'm a little bit more safe. But still, the fact that it's just this never-ending darkness there is horrifying to me. Kind of perfectly expresses everything that I hate about the ocean, lake, whatever you want to call it. Dark, deep, never-ending, and filled with monsters. I don't like this. And the only light you have is the beacon that is the New Vegas Strip. Other than that, darkness. Next up is what may very well be my second or third favorite game of all time, Final Fantasy VII. I love this game to death. Its world is so well developed and diverse, and the environmental storytelling in this game is top notch. I'll definitely have to talk about this game in depth at some point, but for now, let's just play. Oh yeah, we're on the high wind. Let's get out there and fly across the world and explore. This is gonna be great. Oh, yeah. I forgot about the meteor that will crash into the planet. Well, never mind. Let's go explore somewhere else. On second thought, the surface isn't all it's cracked up to be. Let's just go underwater. And, oh, this is so much worse. It's so dark down here, and the deep sea trenches are horrifying. And you can barely see down here, and it's filled with creepy underwater caves, and secret underwater labs, and even wrecked vehicles. Oh, and I think I forgot to mention something. Oh yeah, that's right! Emerging from a crater deep within the planet is the Emerald Weapon, one of the planet's protectors who acts as a defense system of sorts when the planet's life energy has been almost completely depleted thanks to our good friends at Shinra Inc., who've been slowly killing the planet.
Shinra Electric Power Company. Killing your planet for profit since 1997.
Emerald Weapon here is one of the super bosses that patrols the depths of the vast deep sea and obliterating anything that gets near. This ocean was already scary enough. Now you have to constantly be on the lookout for this beast or it will curb stomp you. And the fact that he's always lurking somewhere in the sea in the darkness just out of sight is terrifying. Feels like you're being hunted. An Emerald Weapon will find you if you aren't vigilant. So keep an eye out, because it might just be right behind you. Batman Arkham! Boom 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 boom. Go Batman Joker! This game is one of the most beloved superhero games of all time, and while it's not my favorite entry in the Arkham series, it's still really solid. This game has gadgets, goons, and lame puzzles and claustrophobic vents and corridors, but it's still a great game, I promise. Anyway, after a certain point in the story, you need to find these plant spores that are needed as part of the cure for Titan, the bioweapon that Joker has that turns people into Hulk freaks. And you find out from Poison Ivy that the spores are in Killer Croc's lair. And where is Killer Croc's lair exactly? Oh, it's just the entire sewer system underneath Arkham Asylum. No big deal. Once you get down to Wayland's world, Batman, being the world's greatest detective, realizes that down here, Croc is in his element. And he needs to play this carefully. So he sets a tracker to find the spores and then slowly starts heading towards the spore samples. You have an audio sensor set up to detect how much sound you're making as you slowly creak over the boards, being extra careful as to not make too much noise. Because if you do, you'll be pulled under into the depths below. And don't think you're too slick and try to just use the line launcher to get there faster, because you can overshoot and fall in if you aren't careful. And sometimes Croc makes a surprise visit, even if you were quiet. This part is excellent at building tension because you want to get the spores and get the hell out of there quick. Because being down here is just torture. But you have to be slow and steady. That wins races, you know. And the closer you get to finishing up, Croc gets more bold and tries to just rush you, but he can be knocked out easily with the Batarang. Just make sure you have the Batarang equipped and ready to go. Or, you know, whoops. Eventually you get out of there and give Croc the mess around. And you're finally out of that watery hellhole. This section was terrifying to me as a kid, and it's still excellent in building tension and unease all these years later. I've grown a pair since the last time I've played this game, but I will never forget the primal fear I felt my first time down here. And I can only think of one more body of water more terrifying than this. And the game with the scariest body of water is Soma. And the ocean in Soma isn't necessarily the scariest ocean all on its own. That's not to say that it's not freaky down here. It's filled to the brim with plenty of freaky deaky monsters and unsafe structures to traverse through. Don't get me wrong, it's rough down here. It is a horror game after all. But it's really the implications of the story that make the ocean around Pathos 2 so dreadful. Let me give you a brief synopsis of the story of Soma so you'll understand my reasoning for Soma being 1 on the list. In Soma, you play as Simon Jarrett, a man who is suffering from brain damage after a car crash, and is seeking out a very different kind of treatment for his brain bleeds. Simon gets his brain scanned by Mr. Munchie. He isn't a doctor yet. Doing this creates a digital copy of his brain to study it further and find a solution to curing him. But as he's getting his brain scanned, the lights go out and he wakes up in a dark laboratory all alone. Simon later finds out that he's in Pathos 2, a deep-sea research facility. And he finds out 100 years have passed since his brain scan. While at first, Simon believes that he just woke up in a strange place, he eventually realizes that he is a weird amalgamation of a dead body with robot parts controlling it via a Cortex chip. The Cortex chip has a copy of Simon's brain scan used by Dr. Munchie to continue his research shortly after the original Simon's treatments failed to cure him. But Simon suggested that Munchie use it for his research, which eventually led to several scientific advancements involving brain scans, and it was pure coincidence that Simon's data was transferred to the RoboCorp Simon currently resides in by a freaky bioorganic AI called the WOW, which is also responsible for all the horrifying abominations running around. So thanks for that, WOW. Good looking out. You still with me? Good. Almost done. This is all explained to him by Catherine Chun, a scientist who was scanned while working on the Ark, a device containing all the brain scans of every person that was still alive in Pathos 2 after a comet hit the Earth. The Ark is essentially a digital heaven that will be shot into space and activated, and all the people that got scanned will get to live on in the Paradise Matrix. So Simon and Catherine decide to save what's left of humanity. Catherine is also the only person Simon really forms a connection with down here, and is a comforting presence amongst the chaos, and the two become friends, even though their ideals tend to clash, which is evident by the coin toss. To get to where the Ark is and launch it into space, Simon needs a new RoboCorpse, one that can withstand the massive change in pressure since it's at the bottom of the ocean. So Catherine scans his brain and puts it in a new body, but the only issue is there are now two of Simon. The one we're playing as won the coin toss. He gets to go on being the protagonist while the other one is still conscious, but staying behind in this nightmare, which causes Simon great distress, understandably, and Catherine thinks he should just man up and move on. What happens after that is kind of up to you. The player gets a choice here. You can cut his life support so he doesn't have to remain here all alone, or leave him alive. But why keep him here all by himself for all eternity? That sounds terrible. So yeah, the coin toss. Which you are you currently inhabiting? Whew. Okay, you got all that? I swear I'm getting to my point. So much for a brief synopsis. After locating the Ark, Simon and Catherine have to manually launch it into space, while simultaneously scanning themselves onto it so they can reach paradise. And they cut it pretty close.
20 seconds.
What's the matter with the upload?
Just give it a second.
Thought you guys would have better bandwidth in the future.
Ten seconds. 9, 8, 7, 6.
You gotta be kidding me!
5, 4, 3,
Come on, load!
2,
Yes! Yes! Fuck yeah, we made it! Woo! I'm still here. I'm still here. Catherine? Catherine?
I'm here.
What the hell happened? What went wrong?
Nothing. They're out there, among the stars. We're here.
No. We were getting on the Ark. I saw it. It finished loading just before it launched.
Yeah, I saw.
Then why are we still here?
Simon, I can't keep telling you how it works. You won't listen. You know why we're here. You were copied onto the Ark. You just didn't carry over. You lost the coin toss. We both did. Just like Simon at Omicron, just like the man who died in Toronto 100 years ago.
This is bullshit. We came all this way. We launched the Ark.
I know it sucks, but our copies are up there. Catherine and Simon are both safe on the Ark. Be happy for them.
Are you crazy? We're gonna die down here with those fuckers living at large on a spaceship. They're not us. They're not us.
I'm sorry you feel that way, Simon. I'm proud of what we did. We made sure that something of the hundreds of thousands of years of human history survives, that something lives on.
No, fuck this. Fuck this. Fuck you. Fuck you, Catherine. You lied. And I believed in you. I trusted you. You said we're getting on the fucking Ark.
We are on the Ark, you idiot! I didn't lie. I can't be responsible for your goddamn ignorance. You
Fuck! Catherine? Please don't leave me alone. Catherine? Catherine?
And this is it. The horrifying existential dread that sends chills down my spine. The reason why Soma's ocean is the scariest body of water in gaming to me. It's not just the ocean, it's the circumstance. Imagine yourself in this scenario. You're stuck at the bottom of the ocean for all eternity, all alone, confined to a body that's not even your own, not even completely human, preventing you from ever feeling completely like yourself again. And besides the monstrous creatures, there's no one for you to ever interact with. All you have are your own thoughts to keep you company until you eventually succumb to madness. Surrounded by this endless void, living an empty, endless existence, you will remain at the bottom of the sea forever, all alone.
Catherine? Please don't leave me alone. Catherine? Catherine?
Happy Halloween, everyone.